guide us and to help us get into the system. The executive leaders, when we have these meetings with the volunteers, and I hate to use the word volunteer, with the servant leaders, in that time, you're going to have to step in. You're going to have to pour into them. You're going to have to know what we got or what we're doing. They have to know it well enough. You have to know it well enough that you can train them. If they ask you a question, you respond. But at the same time, what you're doing is establishing an order to keep things moving. We used to have all kinds of systems years ago. All right, the systems went away whenever I let go of the priesthood. A lot of things changed. A lot of people went from north, south, east, and west. Some people passed away. It was bad. I didn't have a manual put together. A few years ago, Margot came in. We put together a church manual. I want to stick to this manual as close as possible. What happens the day you're not there? Somebody else may need to step in and do what needs to be done. What's going to happen the day I'm not there? Somebody else is going to have to step in and do what I do. But I have to have something in writing to where it continues. That's why the Baptist is so big. The Baptist got a system. You have to go on throughout. Got to organize. Same thing with Quick Trip. Every Quick Trip, they get trained. When they get trained, the managers train the next cashiers, okay, or the next food people. This is what we're trying to do for GSL. I don't expect Richard to die in children's church, okay? I expect Richard to get the system in place, have it running so smooth that he's down in the sanctuary while it's going on, and he knows that it's running as smooth as it's supposed to be. And then that way, when the next leader comes in to take Richard's place, Richard lays it out. This is what we do. This is why we do it. We're going to stick to this order. Okay? We're not going to change order. Just because we ran out of something to do, there's something to do every 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes in children's church, nursery area, whatever. Those diapers ought to be checked every 15 minutes. And at least 15 minutes before service is over, each baby needs to be checked to make sure that their diapers are clean. Okay? These are our babies that we have to take care of. We're going to establish this with the servant leaders that we have. We have 160 cards. Okay?
167.
Okay. We even had some turned in yesterday, which you don't know about yet. But in that, we're going to try and, I say corral, we're going to try and lead the people into the systems that we have to put in place. And that's why I'm so adamant that once these systems are in place, it's a normal order, okay? Mainly from the nursery area and way up to the 12-year-olds, okay? David takes care of the youth group. But someday you may have to go over and see what David does and his system. And I guarantee you his system is just like mine. He does the same thing every service to get going where we need to go, okay? That's what you have to do. Whenever you have a servant leader come in and you don't spend time with them and you just kind of throw them in the room because that's what we've had to do, you lose servant leaders. You lose it. Now, but what I do know, just like what Buddy Bell was talking about, even those little parts are very important. But the little parts have to function the same thing as the big part. If the little part's not functioning, and that little part's that first person you threw in there. And if you got something in writing, just like this, you say, here, this is what we're going to be doing. This is an order you have to follow. This is what we're going to do. If they choose not to do it, then we're going to sit down again and teach them again. Okay? Because we have to adopt this system to where no matter who's in the room, there's a system there. Oh, let's work the system. Kind of like reading the instructions of putting something together. Man, we don't like doing that. But at the same time, if we do it before we put it together, normally we don't have any parts left over. Okay? Yeah, so I'm just saying, anyone got any questions, guys? And I'm just being adamant that we're going to make this happen. Okay? We're going to set it up, and we're going to run it the way we're supposed to run it. If the curriculum's not the curriculum that's going to be, that we need, we're going to search for the curriculum to use what needs to. Or we're going to just fix the problems that need to be fixed in the curriculum. Okay? Same thing with the training in the toddlers area, and we're going to try and get more space. We're working because we got more kids.
Do we have room for to tweak it out like there's not the kids there's nowhere out playing outside from the school?
Okay. Yeah.
We're going to train. Here's what we're going to do is I'm going to come up and I'm going to train again. And so we're going to train not only you and for the children's church, preschool, toddler, and nursery, we're going to go through all of that training and that curriculum again. And then I'm going to train you, and I'm going to train all of your servant leaders and your team leaders. We're going to get that down really good, okay? And then we're going to, then we'll bring in those new, all of these that just signed up. If we don't get your leaders and your servant leaders and your curriculum down, we are going to go back to the curriculum for the preschool and toddler that I integrated in last time. And so all of you leaders need to work with me. Joanne's asked me if I can, will come in and help do that. And we're going to get that down in the system. Here's why, you guys. No church will grow without a system. And this is chaotic. It's chaotic. And all of you are looking at me shaking your head. It's chaotic. And here's the thing. We had more children's people that want to help in children's ministry than anybody. So we have leaders. We don't know, basically we haven't trained them. Okay? We throw them in and we don't train them. Okay? So we've got to train them again. And yes, the things that I gave you, we have not updated it for a while. So just ignore some of the things we've gone into flat shoes and tennis shoes and stuff like that. Just ignore that stuff. But here's the thing. Parents, and I'm going to tell you, Richard, parents come to church to get their kids taught by the Bible, not to play. Now, playing is not, I'm not saying playing's, but I would not go to a church that every time I came in, my kids are outside playing. I'm not against playing. That's not the point. But even David, he doesn't want his kids, told me before, don't want his kids to come and say, well, all we did was play. People come in because they want their kids taught by the Bible. Am I right, Chad? You're shaking your hand. I don't care. They can play at home. Chad, playing at home. Your job is to teach the Bible to kids in a fun way. We had fun, didn't we? We had fun. We had gooey fun. Fun for boys I couldn't even stand to do. You do. It is important, but it's not the number one thing. That's not the number one thing. So,
Here's what we're doing, and I want to say this. Okay. I want you to look at everything we have written there. Okay? I want you to critique it. If there's something that's not in there that you think ought to be there, write it on there and bring it to them. If there's something in there that you don't think should be in there, write on it and bring it to them. We're writing this as we go on. We've done the legwork. We've laid the foundation. I mean, we did that when we did when we don't do church alone. But now we got to take it and critique it for what we do. Okay? We had it in place moving forward, but then it's kind of like we dropped the ball and went and started doing our own thing or doing something different. Well, we don't want to do something different. We want to go back to the manual, redo what the manual says to do. That way we keep our system intact. Like I said, if there's things in there that need to be in there, here's what I know about David. On Sunday mornings and Wednesday night, there's time of worship, there's time of prayer, there's time of the word. Okay? Then everything gets done, now it's social time. Tuesday night, there's social time. We created a social time for just the kids, or for the teenagers, which you got to at that age. But at the same time, every week he does almost the same thing. And then whenever he's not able to be here, he brings someone in and recruits leaders. He tries to get them leaders to do the same thing he's doing. We don't want them to bring in something new that oh, hey, Pastor, we try this. No, we're going to do this way. Once again, it's comfortable to know going in what you're doing. But if you get there and you've got servant leaders and they don't know what's going on because we haven't trained them, we haven't spent time with them, then they're kind of lost. Someone going into the nursery area where the babies are at. Somebody, and everyone expects someone to know how to take care of a baby. But if they don't know our system, they don't know this is what we do, this is why we do it. We have a set schedule for what we're doing. Then they fall right into the system. And the system, they pick it up and start running with that. But if you go in there and start changing everything before you get started, no, you can't do that. At the same time, like I said, you look at it, like she said, put it in you, okay? How does children's church supposed to work? And I agree with her 100%, okay? And just like with Chad, he's got 2 boys and a little girl. When he comes to church, he wants them to be taught the Bible. He wants them to know the Bible stories. He wants them to be what you gotta look at, our church, the adult, they don't even know Daniel and Lions did. They don't even know Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They don't even know about David and Goliath. And why? Because they wasn't taught. Because they didn't go to church. And see, that's the strangest about our church. We got church people, adults that's never been to church. Okay? And they don't even know how to act in adult church. Okay? But that's why we're trying to set up something all the way from toddlers, all the way up to age 12 before you. We're going to kind of go through the Bible. I don't know what the curriculum is. I know AI does. And we'll figure out what AI says. And then from there, we're going to put in AI. And then we're going to start going down this pathway. This is going to be established. Okay? 5 years from now, 10 years from now, I want it to be running like a well-oiled machine, making, having results. Now, let's say something. Let's say we're doing something, but there's no effect. You know, because me, I like to affect people. Okay? I like to make sure they knew they was in church. Well, then we'll look at that and put something in that does affect. Okay? Puppet ministry, hey, I think it's a great thing. I've always wanted one. But if it's not having the effect, then we either got to revamp the puppet ministry or find something that would have the effect that we want to have on our kids. That's what's important. But just change it week in and week out. Oh, let's try this. Oh, hey, let's try to do that. That's not working. Okay? We have to train ourselves, and then we have to train others. That's what this is about.
And here's what I know about churches and training churches across America is you have to get like serious, and you have to make it happen over and over and over again for a period of time. So we're going to go a good 3 months, if not 6 months. And it's just what I kind of say is pounding it. You got to be right on top of it, because otherwise the system won't get in place. It won't get in place in people, and it's really getting in place on you too. You're adjusting, refining, and tweaking and moving. So you have to schedule meetings, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how to schedule meetings, who's going to train them, who's going to train, and how we're going to do that. Is it time for you? What time is it? Okay. Yeah, good. All right, so 30 minutes. We have the cards here, and what we're going to do, what Pastor wants to do is we want to first train the children's ministry department first before we, and their staff, before we add any of the new people. We will be calling them all, though.
Okay, yeah. That's something
We're gonna,
you just put in there.
we're getting ready to email them and calling them.
Yeah, I want us to be trained. We're meeting next Sunday, okay?
Mhm.
Everyone here will be notified to be there next Sunday after second service, okay? From there, you're going to be connected with them, okay, and making schedules of their training. I don't want to wait 30 days and not bring these people in. These people need to be plugged in. After the 16th, they need to know who you are if you're over them. Then from there, you need to build a relationship with them. You got to call them, spend time, maybe set up a training the following week, and then bring them in. I don't want to wait 30 days. Okay, I want to get them in as soon as possible because they're hungry to get in. Okay, now there may be some fall off the wayside. I'm okay with that. You have a 30, 60, 100 fold that we're looking for. The 30 still adds. But at the same time, if we hold on to these for 30 days and not have a class, no, we got a problem. Okay? So we need to move that a little faster is all I'm stating.
I didn't say 30 days, did I?
The key is the classes and bringing them in. I agree with you, John, but this is one of the things we got to do over and over and over again. I have 4 classrooms out back now. We have more classrooms than what we had before. After we eat lunch, okay, there's going to be a little bit of input with everyone, and then we're going to bring them up in their category areas. We're going to pray over them after the lunch, okay? Then, after we pray over them, then your leader, whoever you are, is going to take them to a classroom and then schedule your trainings and talk what needs to be done. Ushering is more than passing and basket, okay? There's more to what we're doing than what we're doing. I'll just say that. And so that's how I'm saying. Y'all have to think about it. As David trains us today, you're going to have to think about when you're going to have your scheduled meetings, okay, to train them. And then stay on it for 30 days, 60 days, and have a meeting. It's like all ushers should be there 15 minutes at least, if not 30 minutes before we start. And listen to me, those who doesn't show up after we prayed over them, they don't show up, you come back to me, and you bring them back to me. Because I'm going to talk to them and say, you going to get committed or are you not? It's the crowbar of faith. It's actually the conscience of the Holy Spirit, something I saw that Buddy was preaching about, because he asked how many times we anointed our volunteers. I hate using volunteers, servant leaders, okay? I've anointed most of them. I hadn't even brought Chad in yet, but the leaders I have, but not the work. And that's something I should have done, to put an anointing upon them for commitment, okay? Because that's what we're trying to do. Now, those ones that still fluctuate, hey, guys, we don't need you. Okay, we're going to get someone else that's going to be committed. And after you do that once or twice, they might get committed. But if they're not committed, we're not going to waste time with them. And we don't chase these. But right here, we chase these, we caught them. Okay? Now we're going to try and take it to another level. Make sense?
Oh, I'm gonna visit the start what she's like. I know how to do this, I know how to take things. And they don't want to follow the system.
Right.
And so when they get reiterated with them,
That's going to be reiterated at the luncheon.
that'll help a lot.
At the luncheon, it's going to be reiterated. Okay? And then I'll be the one doing it if I have to. And at the same time, we're going to reiterate that. We're putting in systems for GSL to go for the next 10 years. Okay? We're putting in systems that's going to keep GSL long after I'm gone. And if they want to be a part, that's what we're doing. You want to be a part? Hey, there's the door, guys. Go now. Because we're going to tighten up, and we're going to get serious about what we're doing. With all my heart, I hope so.
Some of them are fake.
Yeah. Okay, the struggle is there. Okay, because if they're on that card where at Fallbrook, they have to ride in, they don't have vehicles. Nothing you can do. But let me say, you can have leaders in place, or you can have just the front line in place 15 minutes, 30 minutes early. You don't have to have 2 people in every room 30 minutes beforehand. But if you get the rooms open, start receiving the kids in, there shouldn't be no problem with that. Yeah, because you're dealing with more than one baby. But we'll try and get those scheduled early.
We'll get a system going, and we'll get a system, and then, David, why don't you come on and teach us?
Yeah, David, I'll be glad to.
I feel like y'all were up all night with me as I built this second half of this training, because y'all covered a whole lot of what is already in here. That's good, though. We need reinforcement, right? 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 Okay. All right. That's what I do in the youth group when people are talking. I'm like, right? Right? And I look right at them, kind of shame them a little bit, That's what I do. I can't help it. I fall back into that. All right. So first thing I want to do is thank y'all for being here. I know training is sometimes boring. I don't like to make it boring. I like to make it fun. So let's play that first video right there. Here we go. Oh, what happened to my sound? I know it was on just a second ago. We checked it. Is it turned? Oh, it's turned all the way
Coming through.
down.
Make way,
All right.
everybody.
Whoa,
I'm
whoa.
sorry, Miss Susan, but this is guest park.
Stop.
You've been attending this church.
Now back it all the way up. There we go. Now we can play it. That's loud enough. We're good.
Parking, get them out of there now. The east side parking is going to be a much quicker entrance into the church. But north side's traffic flows much easier after service if you're trying to beat the Methodists to the restaurant. Everyone, big smiles, big smiles. We got Pastor Dan coming through. Make way, everybody. I'm sorry, Miss Susan, but this is guest parking. I've been attending this church for 25 years now. To the left. I hope you follow Jesus better than you follow instructions. Well, good morning, Pastor. Right this way, right this way. Who parked this SUV? It's double parked. Sorry, Jerry. I know you're an usher, but I'm still going to need some identification before I let you park in the staff staff area. Now, you said they parked in the handicap parking spot. They walked into the church just fine? What do you mean, what authority do I have? I'm wearing a neon reflective vest. We have first-time visitors. I repeat, we have first-time visitors. Keep your eyes open, boys. No longer offer valet parking after one of the youth took a Mercedes out for a joyride during service. Hey, please use your blinkers. Faith without works is dead. Well, yeah, unfortunately, parking is going to be a nightmare when you get to church 5 minutes late. The Lord's path is straight and narrow, driving wide and zigzag. We've got a car trying to park in staff parking. Get them out of there now. Well, the east side parking is going to be a much quicker entrance into the church.
Stop it. There we go. All right. Now you can close that. There we go. So, I just played that because every once in a while I get a little overzealous staffer, and they come in with baggage from somewhere else and start trying to open up that bag and throw it all over the place, and you got to be on top of that. And we have 167 brand new recruits. Buddy Bell did his job. We got to do our job. And praise God, I did the math on it. We had about 36% of the overall tickets that were filled out had something to do with children's, youth, or college volunteers, or college level volunteers. So we shouldn't have any problem now having a pool of servant leaders to resource from. I think we've got the people now. Now we have to make sure we find the right person. Obviously, this guy should have been somewhere else, not in the parking lot. Okay? He is the forward-facing face of the church, and people, that's the first thing they're encountering when they get there, and they don't even want to park. I mean, this guy is running people off faster than Pastor Dixie can bring them in. So it doesn't mean he's not a servant leader. It doesn't mean he can't be plugged in somewhere. It just means he's not in the right job, okay? And so we've been so desperate for servant leaders that we just take what we can get. I just want to encourage y'all, let's not do that this time, okay? let's do some separation here and make sure that we get people plugged into the right place. And usually they'll have a pretty good idea where they want to be and what they want to do, but not always. Sometimes, I'm sure this guy raised his hand, I'll be in the parking lot. I'll be the best parking lot worker you ever had. That's what he probably said, okay? And he was not in the right place. So let's go on down through here. Behavior and resource management. It's important for safety, number one. It's important for learning, number two. Keep going. The right atmosphere encourages mutual respect and good behavior. This is so critical. The right atmosphere encourages mutual respect and good behavior. One of the things that I hate more than anything else, I get here a little bit early, maybe 20 minutes, 25 minutes before service. I get everything set up. I get my servant leader in the sound booth, and the first thing they want to do is change the music. Okay, that's okay. I don't have a problem with them changing the music, but then it's time to go to Quick Trip, and they just turn the music off. Well, there's still kids in here because they don't have money. And if they don't have money, we don't want them to go to Quick Trip, be tempted to steal something, so we let them set. So there's usually 10 or 12 kids left in here, and it's just dead silent, like this. And we lose the entire atmosphere. So the atmosphere helps to create the behaviors that you want, all right? So take some time, set the atmosphere the way that you want it, and then have staff that helps you maintain it. Okay, don't have staff that comes in and changes it all up. All right, let's go to the next one. We're going to set the right tone. Number one, remember, you're in charge. If you're the executive leadership over your department, you're in charge. Now, if you're in charge, does it sound like you're in charge and you come up and go, well, you know, we got this and we got this and we got that, and I could really use some help over here, but this over here is kind of needy too. Why don't you look around and see what's needed, and just, you know, if there's a hole that's leaking, stick your finger in it. That is not leadership, okay? That creates chaos and confusion. So what you want to do is ask directly when you ask. Provide encouragement and expect their cooperation, and monitor it. If you don't get the cooperation, like Dixie said, they may need to move on down the road or volunteer somewhere else. But part of the problem, I hear leaders talking all the time, you know, it's chaos in my room. Okay, that rolls downhill. If it's chaos in your room, it's because it's chaos at your level and you're not communicating well enough so that they know exactly what they're supposed to be doing. Most of the time. Maybe not all of it. You can't have somebody that can come in the middle of a system and just stir things up and turn it upside down. But usually it's because they want to feel effective, but you haven't given them enough guidance and leadership for them to know exactly what they need to do. So you got to check yourself there. Remember, it's a team. Every team member can assist. If you look around and you've got a staff member standing there with their arms crossed and not knowing what to do, that should be mission 1. Find something for them to do. Because if you don't, they might be there next week, and then after that, that's it. They probably won't come back. Every team member can assist, and you need to empower them with limits, okay? Especially when you got somebody new coming in. We're about to have 167 new ones. So you got to put boundaries. You got to put limits, okay? I want you to do this, this, and this, and if it's outside of that, come back to me. If there's a behavioral issue or some kind of correction that's needed, I want you to come back to me. If you leave that wide open, they'll just think, hey, he put the authority hat on me, and I can kick you out if I want to. That's not what we want. So give them boundaries, okay? I need you to do this and this for now only. And if it's outside of that, please come back to me. That way they have clear understanding of what it is that you're needing from them. Set the correct tone for success right from the start, letting them know that they will have your support. One of the reasons why I'm still here in this position is because that man, I know he has my back. Okay? I know he does. I know if I screw up, he's not going to call me out publicly. He's not going to embarrass me. We're going to have a conversation somewhere else, and then I'm going to get corrected, or the correction's going to take place, and I'm going to go back, and he's going to have my back. Okay? So make sure your staff knows that you have their back, and don't try to publicly embarrass them. About the only job that I ever walked off of was when my manager, he was like a taskmaster, but he embarrassed me in front of the whole department. And what was crazy was I was the only one coming in and working weekends and nights. And so I just wrote up my resignation and I gave it to his boss's boss. And I quit right there. I didn't quit the company, but I applied for another position. Yeah. And what came out of that? I got a commendation, a raise, and that manager got fired. So when you're in the right, God will defend you. He will protect you. But it's important when you're above somebody that they know that you have their back. It's very, very important. Relationships are extremely crucial with your staff and your leadership, your servant leaders. They build trust, and trust encourages the behavior and the longevity that you're looking for. Last week we talked about retention. Trust is the number one thing. They have to trust that you got their back. They have to trust that you have their best interest at heart. They have to trust that you know that they're trying and they're learning, and you're giving them an opportunity to make a mistake. And you're not just going to beat them up if they do make a mistake. They have to trust that. All right, here we go. Make your interactions engaging. I demonstrated with Terry last week. You know, I was having a conversation with her while I was looking at my phone the whole time, and I asked her how it made her feel. And everybody in here would say, yeah, I felt pretty unimportant. So you have to be present and engaging when you're interacting with staff as much as possible. I know sometimes it's impossible, but as much as possible, be present. This is something that I instill in every youth that I encounter, because the culture is removing their presence from communication. Okay? So I counsel them, I teach them, I train them, especially before an interview or anything like that. Leave it in your pocket, please. Turn it off, put it on silent, just be present, engage, eye to eye, shake hands, firm. You know, let them know that they deserve your respect as much as you want their respect up front. And then you won't have near as many behavioral issues as you could with your staff at that point. All right. I titled this Sanctuary and Classroom Management. Let's roll through here pretty quick, and then we'll play this video. It begins outside the room and certainly at the door before the service ever starts, okay? and I'm just going to keep using youth ministry over here as an example. If I have chaos in the parking lot, then I'm going to have chaos in the sanctuary. If I don't have staff outside the room watching that parking lot, somebody's going to get hurt. There's going to be a fight. Somebody's going to walk off, and I'm going to get a phone call from a parent. Something's going to happen. So wherever your classroom sanctuary management needs to start, make sure you have your staff in position there so that it starts there. They need to know that you care the moment that they set foot on the property until the moment that they leave. Okay? Don't just hang out in your classroom until the bell rings, so to speak, and then think everything's going to go smooth, because there's probably already been all kinds of name calling right outside the door. all kinds of family drama happen in the hallway. Okay, so ensure that your rules are clearly communicated up front. Things like language, smoking, apparel, animals in the house of God, food and drink, etc. Don't wait until it's already in here. Okay, so at the appropriate time, communicate those rules, those expectations. I think we have a rule about service animals, right? If they're fully serviced, like they have the service animal vest and all that, it's cool. But there for a while, I mean, everybody was bringing everything but their pet snake to church, you know, and it was chaos. So we have to clearly communicate the rules. Establish control at the entrance of the room. Members must enter on your terms and not theirs. I get this all the time over here. Well, the last church I was at said I could. Well, okay, you're not there. And we don't. End of story. That's it. Okay. Try to use non-confrontational comments to settle everybody down gradually, reinforcing the behavior that we want to see. This is important. If you have somebody on the staff that just goes from 0 to 12 instantly, all right, let's find somewhere else for them. Okay? No, they should not be the forward, front-facing face of the ministry. You don't want them there. Okay? We need them somewhere else. All right. Things like, thanks for being here on time. This is what I'm saying about using comments that settle them down gradually and reinforcing what we want to see. Maybe you have somebody that always shows up late. Okay, go up to them and say, hey man, thanks for getting here a little earlier today. Now, what did you say? Did they get here on time? No, but they weren't half an hour late like they were last week. They were here 10 minutes late. So recognize that. Keep reinforcing the behavior that you want to see and do that verbally. Always look calm and cool, or tell them they look calm and cool. If you got somebody that's all over the map, that's just freaked out and everything stresses them, tell them, walk up to them and give them a hug, pray for them and say, breathe, brother, it's going to be okay. It's going to be all right. We're going to have a good time. Demonstrate the behavior that you want to see from them. When you come across calm and collected and cool, it just automatically calms them down. If you come into the room, oh my gosh, what the heck? How come the music? I mean, they just feed off of that. And then you've got staff chaos on top of the other chaos. All right. I like those smiles on your faces. I hear Dixie say that a lot. That's a very good, common practice what you want technique. Okay, everybody could be really down and gloomy. It's the 9 o'clock service and they're tired and they don't want to be there. If you come in and say, man, look at all these bright smiling faces, half of the congregation is going to give you a bright smiling face when you do that. So you're encouraging the behavior that you want to see. Thanks for setting a good example for the newcomers. Now, I started this last week in anticipation of these cards. Sat down with my entire staff and told them, we're going to have a bunch of newcomers. They're going to be scared. They're going to be nervous. People don't like dealing with teens. They don't know what's going on. We're going to encourage them from the start. We need to do the same thing in all these other departments. Encourage them from the start, because they don't have to be there. They're not getting paid. So we have to recognize the resource and the compensation, and a lot of times the compensation is just your appreciation. Okay? All right. next. Give the group clear instructions, no gray areas. Things like no talking please. Now this is maybe on a little bit on the youth side, but it also works with the adults. All right? No talking please is better than let's all be quiet. Because Jeff's version of let's all be quiet and Robert's version of let's all be quiet may be completely different than my version of let's all be quiet. In a teenage room, let's all be quiet just means it goes from 102 decibels to about 80 decibels. That's what that means. No talking please gives you standing when someone disobeys you to say, did you not hear me? Can you not follow rules? Do you want to be here? You can ask questions like that and usually get the behavior that you want instantly. But only if you've communicated clearly, no talking please. Because a teenager will say, I am being quiet. To me. Okay. All right. Reward verbally those who demonstrate that they can be trusted to follow instructions and rules. If I see somebody exhibiting the behavior that I want to see and there's other staff members around, I'm going to make a big deal out of it. I'm going to blow them up. I'm going to dap them up. I'm going to hug their neck. I'm going to say, hey, man, I'm going to get you, I'm going to take you to lunch next week because that's exactly what I want everybody here to do. And then just walk away. And everybody around that learned the lesson and you didn't have to call nobody out. All right. Let's play this. Oh, we got one more. For kids and youth, they can be trusted and be rewarded with sitting where they like, and others can be directed where to sit. This is something specific to kids and youth. I love the fact that we put these couches and chairs in here because I can use them as incentives, especially that one. When that thing first showed up, I was like, ooh, what the heck am I going to do with that? That thing is great because kids feel special when they get to sit there. And the only ones that get to sit there are the ones that are exhibiting all the behaviors that I want to see. Not when service starts, often before service starts. So I'll pick out a group and say, hey, you guys doing really good. Looks like we're going to have a good service. I'm not going to have to call y'all out. Why don't y'all take that seat tonight? And they're sitting over there just looking at everybody going, we got it. And then I look at them and they go, just like that. All right, let's play this video.
I don't know what's happening. This whole week.
You're good.
People have asked me, what am I doing here? I simply don't know, and I'm just here doing things. I don't know what's happening. This whole week, people have asked me, what am I doing here? I simply don't know, and I'm just here doing things.
All right, that's good.
I don't know what's happening.
I'm just here doing things. I don't know. People have been asking me all week long, what am I doing here? I don't know. That shouldn't be anybody's response that's under you. They may not be doing what you asked them to, but they shouldn't say, I don't know what to do. No one's told me. I'm afraid to do something. I might make a mistake. I'm just going to stand here until somebody asks me to do something. They won't be there very long. They just won't. So you got to find something useful, practical, make them feel important to do. And if they mess it up, you got to give them a break and say, hey, I didn't want you to do it that way. I wanted you to do it this way. All right? So don't, nicely, yeah, especially the first 2 or 3 times. All right. Let's see, problematic people. Give problematic people a responsibility with something to do that requires no teacher intervention. This is kind of key. I have several things around this youth room that I can assign someone to do, and it requires no more input from me whatsoever. I can't tell you what that is in your department, but I would say have a handful of them. Just have a handful of them. I don't care if it's just, like, for instance, I have a stack of blank papers back there, and if somebody is looking, let's say they're a staff member and they keep pulling their phone out and getting on their phone, and we have a rule in class that the youth cannot have their phones out unless we're using them for something in the service. And I got a staff that won't put their phone away. I've got a stack of blank papers back there, And I remember one service, I said, hey, you, with your phone out, I need you to get all those papers and find a pencil for everybody too and pass them out. And then the next time they got on their phone, I said, hey, I changed my mind, we're not gonna do that. I need you to pick up all these papers and get all those pencils and put them back there in that box. And the next time they got their phone out, I said, hey, I changed my mind, we're gonna go ahead and do that lesson with the papers and pencils. And about the third time they caught on. And I never saw the phone out again. They didn't take it out. If they did, they went in the lobby, which is our rule. We don't tell people they can't be on their phones at all. We tell them they can't be on their phones in here. You can go out in the lobby. All right. Did I already play that video? All right, let's go to the next one. Oh, wait. Giving clear assignments, because people burn out more in their, hit the space bar, weaknesses than in their strengths. Remember that. People will burn out much faster in their weaknesses than in their strengths. If they're in their strengths, they can go for a year or more in their strength without a whole lot of interaction from you if they feel like they're in their strength. If you put them in something that is not their strength, that is their weakness, they're going to need a lot more encouragement, hand-holding, reinforcement, congratulations, pat on the back, whatever, because it's not their strength. They're already intimidated to be there. So try to put people, especially we have this whole stack of people, let's find out what their strengths are and give them that as much as possible. All right, here we go. Dealing with the difficult ones, let's click through here really quick. I'm probably running out of time. Check and possibly change our attitudes toward the ones that are the problem. Okay? Check and change our attitudes toward the ones that we perceive as the problem. Reason? There's always a story. There's always a story. There's something that's driving that problematic behavior, and if you can find out what that is and be empathetic toward that, you're not going to have to deal with that problem too much longer. Try and see them as people with problems versus problem people. I'm not going to provide an example. Y'all know what that is. Recruit the ringleaders to your side. They can become your best allies. Okay? When I was over at Church on the Move and running with the bus ministry over there, we took the worst of the worst and made them the leaders. And we trained them. And because they already had respect and sometimes fear from other people, but we made them the leaders. And when somebody is a natural born leader and you don't give them anything to lead, they're a fish out of water and they're going to cause chaos. I've got 2 in the youth right now that I'm grooming up, and they are the biggest knuckleheads in the whole room. They're going to be the best leaders. I know they will. Okay, different ways to deal with a problem. You can deal with it head on, you can ignore it, or you can let someone else deal with it. Let's crank through here. You have a toolbox of resources built into you right now. Whatever that toolbox is what it is. The problem comes, you can get help and go through the problem, which creates growth and gives you a bigger toolbox, because you're taking everything you know and you're putting other things that other people know with it, and you get a bigger toolbox. Or you can ignore it or pass the buck and your toolbox stays the same size and you never grow. So I prefer to push people through the problem, give them the help that they need so that next time their toolbox is bigger. They have another tool that they can use to solve a problem. Walking away from it, ignoring it, passing the buck, not a good way to handle it at all. And if you have a staffer that's doing that, you probably ought to have a little bit of one-on-one with them, encourage them to come to you or someone else and help get answers. I've seen, especially, well, I shouldn't say that. I'm not going to say that. I've seen certain people, when there's a conflict, they literally turn and go the other way and just let it continue to build and build and build. Because they don't have any conflict resolution skills. So that they need to be taught how to resolve a conflict so that it doesn't just blow up, because eventually it's going to blow up if you don't address it. All right, let's play that video. Yep.
I was teaching a Sunday school class. The lesson was about how kids could trust Jesus with their cares and burdens. In the activity, they wrote down their burdens on sheets of paper, folded them into planes, and flew them to Jesus. In my class were 3 rowdy boys. I don't know what they wrote on their papers, if anything. The class was fun, but I had no idea if the point was getting across. Until 2 years later, when the mother of one of those boys died. Who would have thought a simple paper airplane would help this young boy remember that he could trust Jesus with anything, with everything. Never doubt that what you're doing matters.
The more you can instill that principle into your staff, the less problems you're going to have with retention and longevity. When they understand that what they're doing is not for their own personal benefit, praise, and glory, it's for the kingdom, and it's for helping other people understand the importance of their relationship with God, the Holy Spirit does the rest, and you don't have to worry about where did my staff go. When your staff disappears, it's because they don't feel purpose and importance. They don't feel like they're making a difference, and that comes from us. It actually comes from God, but we are the ones that direct them to that from God. It's a huge responsibility, and it feels repetitive, but it's really not. Because if you have 5 or 6 staff and you just tell one a week, hey, good job, I noticed that's exactly what we need to see more of, it's going to take you 5 weeks to get to everybody in your group. So you should probably be acknowledging and encouraging 2 or 3 people per service, just so you get to everybody on a regular basis. This is their currency. This is their motivation oftentimes. And then as they grow and mature in Christ, they will learn to just get the motivation directly from God. But when they're new, they need you there on a regular basis to encourage them along. They'll eventually get there to where they don't need it as much, but in the beginning, they're going to need it a lot. All right. Things we don't do: we don't escalate a bad situation by adding to the bad behavior. Please. Please. I had a staffer the other day. He was getting on to somebody out there, and I mean, it was tit for tat. The kid said something, he said something back. He got louder, he got louder. Next thing you know, it's a shouting match, and all the kids are watching the staffer berate this 14-year-old publicly. Not good. Not good. That was a failure on my part to train that staffer before that incident happened. It won't happen again. I made sure of that. But it should have never happened. All right. Don't allow bad behavior to go on unreported and unchecked. Let's keep going. Becoming alone or isolated without a third party is a problem, because now it's your word against them. Okay, so if something's going down and it looks like it might escalate, hey, motion to somebody, come here, come here, come here, come here. Get somebody else there as a witness to protect yourself. All right? Participate in conduct that we don't allow others to do. This is hypocrisy. When I'm saying no vapes, no weed pens, no smoking, nothing like that at this youth room, and I got 3 staffers sitting out there vaping while they're walking in, is that not hypocrisy? If I'm saying put your cell phones away and I got 2 staffers over here updating their Facebook status during the middle of service, that's a problem. We're not exhibiting the behavior that we want. So you're not communicating to your staff that that's not okay. I walked out of my car last night. What's today? Thursday? No. what's today, Wednesday? I got out of my car last night, and I parked almost right in front of the door. I was about 3 spaces to the east. Opened my door, got out, and a lady exhaled the largest amount of vape or smoke or what that I have ever seen right into my face. I couldn't walk 3 feet to the right or 3 feet to the left and avoid the cloud. It was impossible. And she was standing about 2 feet from the front door. And so I know it didn't just affect me, it affected everybody within about a 20-foot radius. Now, she probably wasn't staff. But when it's staff, it's exponentially worse. Because you're just giving everybody else a green light to go ahead and do it. Well, the staff's doing it, must be okay. Dixie must be okay with that. Well, Dixie's not okay with that, but he can't watch everybody all the time. So please don't let your staff do things that you don't want other people to do. All right. Don't allow your past, your guilt, and your shame to inhibit needed correction. I've talked to staff before. Well, I can't really correct that because I got a problem with that too. Sorry, you got a problem with that too, but it's not allowed here. You may have a problem with that at home, but I don't see you doing it here, so I need you to call it out here. Work on it at home too, but call it out here. If we don't call it out here, everybody's going to be doing it. All right, but I get that all the time. Well, I'm still dealing with that. Okay, praise God, I'll pray for you. It's not allowed. I put you over them, you're letting them do it, that's a problem. All right. Don't bully or scare or intimidate kids. That's what was going on in the lobby a couple months ago. We're not going to do that. Don't ignore, dismiss, or downplay a situation that should be reported. Okay? Even small things, if I think it might cause a phone call to him, he'll get a phone call from me first. Because he don't like to be blindsided, and I don't like to be blindsided. You shouldn't want to be blindsided, so communicate that to your staff. If a conversation or an action took place that could be a problem, a bad reflection on the church or whatever, have them tell you, and then you make the decision if you need to call somebody else. All right. There's a mindset shift that needs to take place, and I'm about to wrap up. Here we go. Volunteering is not in the Bible. Serving is never out of the Bible. Volunteering says, how can I help you out? Serving says, how may I help you in? Volunteering says, I guess I can do it. Serving says, this is my privilege. Look for and cultivate these qualities in your servant leaders. When you're going through these right here and you're interviewing these people and you're training them, look for those qualities. Let's play this video here, and this will wrap it up for us.
Here's the thing. Systems exist whether you plan them or not. If new guests show up at your church and nobody greets them, that is a system. If volunteers find out what they're doing 5 minutes before service or Saturday night because you forgot to send the invite, that's a system. It's just a bad one. It's a broken one. And here's the thing. Systems exist whether you plan them or not. If new guests show up at your church and nobody greets them, that is a system. If volunteers find out what they're doing 5 minutes before service or Saturday night.
Thank you. We have a problem with this here. We have a problem with this. There's not enough communication before the volunteers get there. And I'm sorry, that's on us. It just is. I mean, think about it. They're not being paid. They're taking time out of the sanctuary. They're coming. What happened to my screen, man? I think I had one. All right, that's all right. We were close enough to the end. That's on us. So you're going to have to create time, make time, find the time to educate before service starts. I know that's probably difficult, but I like to look at it like this. If your volunteer is showing up 5 minutes after service starts, that's already a problem. That's already a problem. You need to address it. Okay, maybe it's been a problem that's been out of our control before now, but we have 167 people that want to help. the first thing out of your mouth should be, okay, we're going to have a meeting and we're going to educate you on what to do, when to be here, how to do it, and who to call if there's a problem. And we're going to answer all these questions so that you don't have to look scared when you show up 15 minutes before service next week. You're already going to know. That's on us. We have to do that. I printed out this is a G-Lite servant leader service template. And I'm going to give everybody a copy of this. The only thing that's not on here are times, because our times will shift sometimes depending on moving of the Holy Spirit. Our times might shift sometimes because of a testimony or something like that. So I didn't put times on here, but it is in the order that our service goes. And it's so a new servant leader has an idea of what the service is going to entail. They don't have to guess what's happening next. Are we going to go to Quick Trip or are we not going to go to Quick Trip? They have an idea of the way the general service is going to flow. It doesn't mean we can't deviate from it, because we do, but it does answer the questions that a lot of them have when they're first stepping in. What's going to take place? Because they're scared, especially with teens. They're scared. So, and with kids, they're scared. So the best way to defeat that fear is knowledge. And here's the other problem. If all of the knowledge is here in your head, what happens if you have an emergency? What happens if you can't be there? What happens if you leave early or something comes up? All the knowledge is in your head on everything that's supposed to take place in the service. You haven't replicated yourself anywhere, and the service is just going to fall on its face. So create a service template. You don't have to use my template. That's just an example. But that's an example of the things that you might want to think through so that you can pass it on to your staff so they know what's going to take place. And it was so funny because I emailed this out yesterday to all my staff before I printed it out and gave it to you guys. And it was so funny. I had a lady walk up to me and she goes, "Where are you going?" So what do you mean? I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to get my kids across the street. She's like, "Well, what is this? This looks like you're about to leave." I said, "It does?" She said, "Yeah, it looks like you're out of here." I said, "Good. Great. Maybe I can have a day off and y'all could run the service with this." And she just smiled and she said, "You're not going anywhere?" I said, "No, I'm not going anywhere, but I need y'all to know exactly what the service is about and how it needs to run in case I can't be here." And she's like, "Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, this is really detailed." I said, "Yeah, well, the service has it's a lot of gears turning. And so I need other people to know how to turn the gears, not just me." And that's what you need to create a template for. Whatever department you're over, create a template. It doesn't have to be that detailed, but create a template, hand it out to your staff. This is the way I expect things to go. If they don't go that way, nobody's fired, but this is the way I expect things to go. It'll help you out immensely. Do what now? Well, because this is very specific to one department, and probably what's in the book is generic to try to cover everything. I gave you this very specific one so you can see when you're doing yours the level of detail you need to communicate to your staff, okay? If you just say be here, 10 minutes before, and you don't tell them what to do in that 10 minutes, what's the point of them being here 10 minutes early? So you got to give them detail. Well, for Chad, his list is going to look completely different than mine, but it's probably going to have about the same amount of items, similar, if he's thinking everything through and wants everything to work and not get a phone call after everybody's at home that, "Hey, y'all left this, that, and the other thing on." You see what I mean? I have a list back there in the DJ booth of how to turn everything on and how to turn everything off. So nobody can say, "I didn't know." Well, you didn't read the list? You see what I mean? If they don't know and you don't tell them, it's on us.
Well, keep in mind, you're trying to help the new person as well. You're trying to have an input, not just for the generic. The generic's not working.
Right. Nobody else knows. So when you got new staff coming in, you need to give them your template and say, this is the way we expect service to go. All right, I'm gonna step down.
Last week we asked for everybody to get the Ministry of Helps book by Buddy Bell. Who got that book? It was on his book table. Okay. Okay. And is there a reason why everybody else didn't get one? Okay. Pardon me? What, I'm sorry? Okay. So I'm really truly asking, did you feel